rulings that they shoved through the court and won those two cases. Well, what happened was, because when they said, well, you own the herbalhealthreview.com, and I replied, I don't own that either, and it's owned by Mrs. Headley, who is exercising her constitutional rights by publishing some of my work. And the judge agreed with me that I'm not in contempt of court. Then the judge chastised Mr. Burg for abusing her court with this case. And what she said was to him, it just isn't in the scheme of things. Then the judge said, don't put any more documents through our court, and if you have anything more to say about this case, call me on the telephone. And the FDA attorney looked at her quizzically and said, call you on the telephone? And she said, yes, call me on the telephone. And she said, I'm serious. For a second time, she said, I'm ruling that Mr. Burst is not in contempt of court, and go after potato chip manufacturers and leave natural remedies alone. And that was it.
$1 billion industry, which is outrageous.
Yeah, and so that's the way that went. Now, my daughter made all the changes that were required by the FDA for her new ministry and more. And she purchased an expensive accounting system. And every product had all the historical and traditional information and scientific information removed. So there's no information about the product. And then she changed all the names. And she changed all the stock numbers of the products. So heart became HRT. Diabetes became DBT-SPT. And the...
My question is, if you take away what the description of what formula it is, whatever, how are people supposed to know how to take these particular herbal remedies?
They didn't. No. And what happened, Jason, was the members could not understand the label and what the product was for, and there was no descriptions. So my daughter went broke in 6 months doing that, complying with the FDA. So she sold the assets of the ministry to my granddaughter, Mrs. Haywood, and my daughter is no longer involved. And the ministry suffered a huge loss in donations for product, and the new ministry still struggles to survive the FDA's continued overreaching demands and threats. Then 7 months after that contempt hearing, the FDA came into my granddaughter's ministry for an 8-day inspection on April 2014. They disrupted the operations of the ministry by constantly interrogating the owner and staff so they could not perform normal ministry functions. Finally, when the FDA just departed, they said, oh, by the way, you're going to need to hire 4 new people just to answer all of our complaints. Bye. Then another 7 months went by, October 17th, and 2014, and Mrs. Haywood received a 7-page warning letter from the FDA with ridiculous allegations which are pure distortions of reality and impossible to continually correct over and over with the FDA's Alice in Wonderland rules that things are not what they are, but what the FDA says they are. So.
Well, just to go in there, I'm getting close on time. Can you give our folks the information to contact you and your websites? Because I know it's being very enlightening to see what was going on. It's the illustrated form of tyranny against the First Amendment, right?
Yes.
And rights not to be trespassed on. Can you give that information, please?
Yes, that's correct. So. And so I've created a petition around this, and I can tell you about that, and then what Senator Rand Paul said about what's going on at the FDA. I would like to discuss that with you if we have time. But my telephone number is 503-362-5899. That's 503-362-5899. And my email is Truman, Truman, at health, HEALTH, herbs, HERBS.com. Truman at healthherbs.com. My Skype is Master Herbalist. And so that's how to get in touch with me. My telephone number, my email, and the website is herbalhealthreview.com for information. And to purchase the product, it's betterhealthherbs.com, so you can purchase with a donation to the ministry.
And with that, I'd like to be, if you can come on next Monday, I'd love to continue the story with you.